Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Monday night, 8 p.m, the Online Darts Live Lounge returns, episode 201. Myself, Phil Bars, and Dan Simpson here this evening. How's it going, buddy? You all good?
All right, mate. Yeah. I've been on holiday, haven't I?
That's what I mean, yeah. Are you still a southern lad?
I had a gorgeous week down in Dorset. It was absolutely lovely. Really, really nice. Great bit of time off work. I was back to work today. I feel it now. It's been a busy old day today. Like back to earth with a bump this morning. It took me 11 hours to drive home. That was a bit rough. I set off at 9:15 in the morning. At 2:00 in the afternoon, I was passing Northampton. That's how you know. Like that's bad traffic. That it was a grim drive home. But yeah, it's been nice. Back to earth with a bump today. A solid day at work. Cut the grass, done a bit of gardening. Did it? Yeah, it's been busy. How are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. I tell you what, it is. Chat room is rammed. Dal is in. Malachi, Chris, how are we doing? James, Owen, Paul, good evening. Shelty is in. Lauren, how are we doing? Maximus, Marcus, how are we all doing? Matthew, Wayne, how are we doing? Sarge, hope you are good. The Matt Porter interview is going to drop in the morning. I'm not going to lie, I ran out of time today. End of an era. No gobs, oversized shirts. Malachi is in. Richard, how are we doing? K-Days is in. Joel says, what's up? Evening, Dan. Connor is in. Richard Gresses is in. Evening, lads. So, first of all, thank you very, very much for all the words last week. Episode 201. We had a great time in the studio where I am. We were playing with some new software, and look, it was just good to have us all in there. Look, episode 200 was incredible. The kind words were superb as well.
Yeah, it was a good trip on it. It was good fun. It isn't very often that we're all in the same room, and when we are, we generally haven't got the opportunity to dick about. Really, I mean, we're normally in the same room because we've got something to do, or at least one of us has got something to do. I'm normally still dicking about, but at least you and Gob are often normally busy with something actually fairly official. So it was good fun just to get all in the same room and have a bit of crack and a chuck around and playing with some equipment and software and mics and stands and other different things that we can use hopefully throughout the year this year. Lots of exciting things in the pipework, I think. I think we worked a few more things out last week. Yeah, it's going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah. Where is it? Evening, great show. Tom says, is there going to be a new gob? Yes, there will. Look, we plan to go back to 3 of us. We're not going to lie, the right option hasn't presented itself yet. Beforehand, when we've had to shuffle and so on, the next obvious person to join the live lounge has been there. This time, it's a little bit trickier, where Cam can't commit to being here every Monday due to work commitments and so on. Carwin plays darts on a Monday as well. I know there were 2 people that you said they should be next. And look, we're not overlooking anyone or anything like that. We just need the right person, the right dynamic. We're working on a few bits. So will we go back to 3? 100%. But until then, it's Dan and I holding the fort. But yes, we will go back to a 3.
We have not discounted Live Lounge's Got Talent and hosting some sort of open audition. It could be in Blackpool this year. We could be hosting live auditions at the Match Play. We'll see. We will find a way by hook or by crook to identify the third wheel.
Yeah, and look, we could do full X Factor. Yeah, you've got a seat.
100%.
You've not got a seat.
We can bring them up here for judges' houses. We can bring them up for a palm, or they can come up here like can't we? So one of us do the unders, one do the overs, the over 35s or something. Maybe that could work as a the OD factor.
Yeah, so 100%, we will go back to A3, but we just don't want to rush the call and get the wrong one and then have to make another change because it didn't work is the thing. But we will do. But never a dull moment in Darts, Dan. I know you were away, but I know you still kept up again. Just relentless, the schedule. It just doesn't stop, does it?
No, and I tell you what, I will give all of my, I was very lucky. I mentioned to you last week that the digs that we stayed in a very nice lodge, and it had smashing Wi-Fi. And I took my Fire Stick with me. So as much as I was on holiday and away from general life and switched off from work and everything else, it did actually give me an opportunity to watch some darts for a change. And I was able for rarely for me to keep up with Premier League and Euro Tour and actually watch darts on television. So it worked quite well. It was quite good.
Yeah, 100%. And we're playing with a few changing of angles and so on. So we're having a little play. And yeah, we are planning to have guests back on the show as well. But it takes a lot of planning to get guests every week. But it is something we are certainly going to look at and try and plan a little bit better. How are you doing, Maddo? Good to have you in. Let's start with the. I'm going to go to Liverpool first of all, because the Premier League last week, I'm going to say it now, Liverpool was a massive disappointment. The atmosphere, the buzz in the arena, it was nothing short of horrific.
It's funny that as well, because they've done their fair share of partying in that city this week. And I appreciate it's only 50% of that city, maybe less than 50% if you are to believe some of the narrative. But it's not a city that's known for lacking atmosphere and not having people come out and lift the spirits of sportsmen that participate in that. So yeah, a bit strange that one. I expected that we would see a big, especially with Bunting being in the Premier League, and even the atmosphere. Sometimes the atmosphere you get in negatives. I thought, well, maybe they might want to dish some stick out to those from the more Lancashire contingent of the Premier League. But yeah, it just lacked a bit, didn't it?
100%. It just missed something, and it was weird. The atmosphere was good for the first couple of games, but then it just absolutely died after Bunting went out, and it just never ever recovered, which was weird, because normally Liverpool is an absolute buzz. The city is superb, but it was right up there, arguably one of the worst venues in the Premier League for atmosphere this year, which I thought I'd never ever say.
No, it's odd, isn't it? And it's difficult to really sort of figure it out, because we know that there's nothing wrong with that arena in terms of acoustics, layout. Like it's perfectly good as a venue for this type of event for the Premier League. It's certainly big enough. I mean, what's it? I don't know, it depends on the setup, but I would imagine somewhere 12, 14,000, something like that. Is it roughly?
Yeah, it's one of the bigger venues, 100%.
Yeah, probably because they can set it up different ways. I imagine there's a variance as to where it holds. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you were in the venue, weren't you? And
yeah,
sometimes you watch it on TV, especially like if you don't watch it on a particularly good TV with crap speakers, like I was last week while I was away. It's difficult to tell, because the sound isn't great on the TV. Sometimes you think, well, how well have they mic'd it up and what's going, and But obviously, you were in the building, so you know how good it was or wasn't, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it was just a disappointment. Couple of things in the Sustin, waiting for Corey Cadbury. They're waiting a long time there, Rob. No, Tam, I know Chris has said it in the chat. Look, Gobbs is now a full-time referee, so coming on here ranting and venting about things, and then potentially having to ref players and so on. Look, he's doing incredible in his career as a referee. And look, you will see Gob again on the live lounge at some point. He'll fill in at some point and so on. So he's not left the channel or anything like that. But just can't be
he's a member of the team still, but it is difficult to what everybody wants, because he's good at it and we all love it about him, is he likes to go in with both feet sometimes, and when he's got a view, he's happy to share it, and it's great, and it's why we all enjoy either having him on and talking with him, or that's why people want to watch him. But it's challenging for him if the job he does full time, which is what pays his bills and everything, is he's a referee, and it is difficult to wear both of those hats. There are lots of different positions people can have in darts where it's easy to wear multiple hats, and you know, if you are doing one thing, you can sort of do 2 or 3 others as well. Refereeing is a little bit different because you have to, I suppose, keep that little bit of separation, even just of sharing your views too much, because you never quite know who might point the finger at you for whatever reason, even where it's not warranted.
100%. Evening, Fraser. Good to have you in, my friend. It's a good question here from Maximus. Is Littler becoming the villain? No, look, I don't think so. Look, we all know that we all know he's a massive Manchester United fan, and he enjoys winding the Liverpool fans up. So look, he was always going to get a bit of stick in Liverpool. He knew it was coming, and so on. So look, he's still absolutely loved all round the venues, but look, he was always going to get a bit in Liverpool, and look, that's what.
I don't think it's malice, though, is it? It's not. It's pantomime.
They were booing and so on, but look, that happens, and when you give it, you've got to take it as well. So no, look, is he becoming the villain? No, maybe just in Liverpool once a year or something like that.
Yeah, and I think it's sometimes when you know, even as a pantomime, that the crowd is going to be against you, or they're going to give you a bit, then sometimes some players will find it easier to deal with that if they lean into it a little bit, and they'll find it a little bit easier if they lean into it, goad the crowd a little bit, and then they've got their reason for it, and they sort of, they can make their peace with it a bit and get on, rather than just feeling like everybody's getting at them if they don't lean into it. So I think it's fairly sensible management of that situation from him, to be completely honest.
Yeah. This has come up a little bit. He's going to the World Cup. He forgot the World Cup was in Germany when he had his Instagram.
Referring to the World Cup.
So yeah, he will be in Germany for the World Cup. But yeah, look, the actual night itself was an interesting one, and I think if I go, hey, that's the wrong one, but I can. That's the Euro Tour one, but I can change that.
Good lad.
We're getting there with this technology malarkey.
Yes.
So yeah, look, it was an interesting night, and that one there, I think it is, or is it? Yeah, that one.
Well, we're getting close now, aren't we? We got 4 more nights before we've got the finals night. So it is. We are in the business end of the tournament, if you like. That's what's happening, and it's starting to. And we said it last week, didn't we? These games are starting to matter a little bit, and when players lose, it's starting to reduce their chances greatly, and when they win, it starts to look a bit more confident. Now, we desperately tried to manifest some chaos, and it didn't happen too much this week, because the resurgence that we had seen in recent weeks from the bottom 2 and things getting a bit tighter, the big boys and the lads further up the table shut it down a little bit, I think, this week, didn't they, in that opening round?
Yeah, I agree that chaos we were hoping to manifest hasn't materialised. And look, Luke Humphries is now at the O2, done. Godwin Price has taken a huge step to there. I think the top 3, whether Godwin Price stays in 3rd or goes to 4th, I think for me, the top 3 are now done after Liverpool. Gezi winning the night and so on. I think that's done.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a really like a catastrophe, I think, from this point. I think next week will be interesting for Gezi. I know I don't want to jump ahead too much to predictions, but like next week he opens against Luke Humphries. And if Humphries does him early and those around him win, then it might just have him looking over his shoulder a bit more. You know, he won't, if he go, and let's be honest, he could, Humphries could bash him up. You know, that could happen. And I just think he won't feel as comfortable. He'll want to get that next one, I think. I think 2 more points and he'll be happy, but I don't think he'll be happy just yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is work to do, but I think I don't see Gezi not making it. The interesting bit was obviously Luke Humphries beat Nathan Aspinall in the first game. And then if you're Nathan, you're obviously going to be gutted that you've lost. But then when your mate's 4-0 up on Michael van Gerwen, you're thinking, oh, well, perhaps it's not as bad as what I first felt. And then I don't think anyone saw the MVG come back, did they?
No. I mean, I'm still not convinced yet. But like, yeah, weird, strange. Very, very. I mean, these things don't really happen at the minute. But I mean, seemingly they do happen to Michael van Gerwen because he keeps coming back, doesn't he? Like this is what we've seen from him in the last few weeks. Is at the minute he doesn't. We've talked loads about his form and how he's playing, he's in action, but he just keeps getting stuck into games at the moment where he's not quite sure. He doesn't know he's beat, and when he should be beat, he all of a sudden rattles some legs off and snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. And I think that's it's a big couple of points then for Michael van Gerwen because like that battle there, 17 points each on Aspinall and van Gerwen in the league at the minute. Like that's the big battle. That's the tight. That's what all eyes are on going into the last 4 weeks because you expect they're the places that are going to keep exchanging, and that's where picking up 2 points every week is absolutely vital. And you know, this week Aspinall didn't manage to bag 2 points, and Michael van Gerwen did, and it's really on a knife edge between them, and it could just come down to who wins the most first round games. Those two. I'm not convinced either of them's got another night win left in them, but I think it could just come down to who wins the most first round games.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And remember, they do have to play each other. I think so. They've got to play each other in Aberdeen. Nice. Now, also, because of the way it goes, they could then double up and play each other again in Sheffield the week after as well.
Could be real tight, couldn't it?
So, potentially, all of a sudden, night 15 and 16 could have a huge bearing for Michael van Gerwen and Nathan Aspinall going head-to-head at the P&J and the Utility Arena.
Yeah, I think that's the intriguing battle, and I think they've looked out a little bit because we keep seeing in this format, and I like it. Like I've made no great secret of it. I quite like the Premier League. I quite like the format. Don't dislike it. You can have all the arguments you want about who gets to go in it, but once it starts, you've just got to enjoy the fact that you get to watch some good darts every week. And if you go to the events, the atmosphere is good and it's good fun. But
100%,
you do lose, that race to the number one spot. It's never particularly interesting, and because really it's just a bonus. There's nothing on it really. We often see a couple of players slip away. It's tightened up a little bit this year, which has made things a little bit more fun. If we can see that get tight again, if we can see some more points on the board next week, and again we'll come to predictions in a bit, but if we can see points going on the board from Cross and Dobie and Bunting next week, then it all tightens up a bit and it gets really fun. Interesting though. That's the big battle at the minute though, isn't it? MVG and Aspinall. That's the one to watch. Well,
look, Gezi was sensational. He's averaged 106, 105, 104 in the 3 games, and afterwards he makes quite a bold claim.
So I'm sure it doesn't bother me. I'm pretty much like Luke Little. You know, he's on his phone playing games. I'm pretty similar. I just keep myself to myself, but let the other boys bicker amongst themselves and wind each other up. When I'm on my game, I am the best in the world. I don't care. You know, Luke's as good as he is. Michael's as good as he is on his day. But if I play my A game, they don't beat me. And I think they know that as well. But it's which one of me turns up.
Bold.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting statement, that, isn't it? And there's a few of them that can say it. Like, on my day, I'm the best player in the world, because there are a number of players who can tip up and average 109, or they can average 105 3 games in a row. And there's a number of players that can do it. If you do that, are you the best player in the world? Well, you are that day. On that, I don't think anyone in the world has played better darts than Gerwyn Price on the 24th of April. I think he was the best player in the world on the 24th of April. The 23rd of April and the 25th of April, maybe not. Maybe someone else has got that. Like, it's a good soundbite and it's a bold claim, and I like his confidence. Like, I guess he's a far better watch. He's much more engaging and fun when he's like that. When he's at it and he feels he's at it and he's up for it, then he's a pleasure to watch. And he's one of the most fun players, I think. If you just enjoy watching darts, then Gezi Price playing his best is an absolute treat.
Darts is a better place when Gerwyn Price is playing well.
Oh, 100%.
No question whatsoever.
The more that we can get that, and the more he feels that, then the better, and the more fun we'll all have watching him and watching darts, and the better the back end of the Premier League will be if he can keep it up. Very good, quite exciting.
Yeah, how we doing, Lendl? Don't worry, I've starred that one. We will come on to that in a minute. We've got Portugal. How are we doing, Joel? Good to have you in from Portugal. Let us know in the chat room where you're from. Love the international audience that we've got. All good, Daniel. All good. But yeah, look, Gezi is in a good place at the moment, and obviously off the back of that, we went to Graz at the weekend, and it was a strange Euro tour. Look, a lot of the big guns skipped, and I can understand why. Schedule management, Graz is an absolute nightmare to get to, and so on. It was a Euro tour, Dan, that had a very weird feel. I'm not saying it was bad, but just a weird feel from the start because of the players that were missing.
Well, the lineup itself is just odd. When you just look at the lineup, it doesn't feel. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Euro tour. It's a bit unusual. Yeah, Graz is, fucking miles away. Like it's right over the far side of Austria, near Hungary. It's like it's that far. It's way out the way. Not easy to get to. It's a gorgeous place. It's lovely. But yeah, when you look down the list, especially at the players who were seeded. And you sort of look at some of these, you think, fucking hell, how they ended up seeded for a Euro tour. It was a bit of a mega mix, and I think that as well as that, we saw a right random list in terms of the tour card qualifier was a very, very, like, it was a rogues gallery. I think the tour card qualifier this time round. We are used to seeing the same people qualify on the regular, and I suppose because of that, like, we've started to see those that were coming through the tour card qualifier regular have managed to sit themselves a little bit more comfortably in that Pro Tour order of merit. So we're seeing, Dukes and Rasma and Joyce, and they're all qualified through the order of merit. But yeah, a proper rogues gallery. Thank you.
Yeah, and look, we'll bring up the graphic in a minute, but there's a couple of bits. Evening, Nico. Maximus asks, is the Euro Tour irrelevant now? And also, Lendl says there isn't enough on the line for the big boys. Now, is the Euro Tour irrelevant? For me, no. But because the way the game has moved financially, that I think that they're going to have to look at where these Euro Tour events are now. Like, don't get me wrong, the crowd in Graz was incredible. Even Friday afternoon, it was busy.
I think the money's good though, isn't it?
It is, but for the big boys, is it? In terms of, we saw Luke and Luke do a weekend of exhibitions instead, and I'm pretty sure both of them earned more than what the winners got for the Euro Tour for staying in the UK. Now, that's fine when you're the top boys, but do they need to look about where the Euro Tours are? Like, for Graz, there was not a direct flight from the UK. Now, I appreciate not everyone is coming from the UK, but if you're a fan of, if you're an Austrian fan, you've probably bought tickets well in advance, assuming you're going to see Luke Littler, Luke Humphries, Michael van Gerwen, Gerwyn Price, Gary Anderson, and so on.
Yeah, it's interesting one, that, isn't it? Because, like, I talked about it last week when I talk about the opportunities that players or that fans have going to see World Series events. You know, and this is your opportunity to go and see the best players in the world, and you don't care that they've all been to the 6 other events before. You just want to go and see the biggest art players in the world. So, and that's your opportunity to do it. I'm not sure I buy it, Phil. If I'm honest, like, yes, Graz is like the far side of Austria, but what's that in the grand scheme of things? It's like, it's a couple hours on a flight, isn't it? Or it's a flight and then a train. Like, the train system's pretty good over there. You know, you can fly
I get
together and get the train.
I fully get that and appreciate that,
especially with first round losers money. I think if we were talking, like, if they said, and I know we've got some Pro Tour events in some international places, like, if it was a Pro Tour and there was no first round losers money, then I think I'd probably buy it and say, nah, piss off. Like, you can't, like, that's taking the piss. Just on percentages, you'd say, right, you know, the biggest percentage of players on your tour come from either the UK or, like, Northwest Europe. So to go any further east is a bit silly, but I think when you've got first round losers money, and that first round losers money is like over $1,000, then I think it's fine. And I don't mind at all the big guys not being there. In fact, I think, yeah, great. Like, I just think, like, we've talked about the top 16 being protected a lot, and people have come out and properly been at it, and I've been with them 100%. But then if members of the top 16 aren't going to take up that opportunity, well, then it passes down, doesn't it? And like I said, you know, it creates opportunities for other people. And, you know, if Humphries and Littler can go and earn more on a weekend doing something else than playing there, and they choose that they don't need the ranking money, like, they make that decision, fine. I just think, like, yeah, that's what we talked loads about, you know, players managing their calendar and managing their workload and also, like, managing their income. Like, it can be, not always, but it can be a short career, or your time at the top can be a short career. Now, I know these guys have probably got the rest of their lives on the exhibition circuit, but, you know, you don't know what's around the corner, and you have to get, you know, you make hay while the sun shines, I think is the suitable phrase. So I don't begrudge anyone going out and making a few quid, especially if it creates opportunities for other people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tobias, I'll star your question. So we'll come back to that. A couple of people saying that exhibitions are becoming the problem. Look, are they? Look, when you can't get a PDC ticket because they are that sort and that rare, there are parts of the UK that don't have any darts. So if you get the chance,
for example,
to put a show on in that area, then look, it's supply and demand, and the demand is high, and they are supplying the fans that can't get to a Premier League night.
100%. I don't buy that. I think that, you know, I'll tell you how you would know if exhibitions weren't working. If people weren't at them, because people had stopped doing them. Like, if they weren't making money, like, there is no way that, like, I'll be honest with you. I know some of these people. I've met some of these people that run these exhibitions. They are not daft, and they are certainly not daft when it comes to making a shilling. And they would not be paying the top players top dollar if it wasn't coming in. So it's clearly making revenue, and regardless of what you as a darts fan think of them, or the ones that you have gone to, and some have enjoyed. I can see in the chat room, like, some are into it, some are not. Like, but I just think, well, there's lots of different ways of taking in darts. Like, some people love going to the Premier League. It's a very similar audience, I think, that likes going to the Premier League, that likes going to exhibitions. Like, there are some people that love the Premier League. There are some people that wouldn't dream of ever going to the Premier League, but they'd walk over a floor full of broken Legos in bare feet to get to, like, Reds in Minehead, where it's, like, silent and small, and you can just sit in silence watching darts. And everybody likes to enjoy it in a different way, but they wouldn't be selling out constantly every weekend if people weren't into them, because they'd stop doing them.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is it wouldn't surprise me if the PDC change certainly the top players' contract to say that they can't do exhibitions if there's a ranking event on.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. I don't agree with it.
I know, I'm not saying I agree with it, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't think it's right, morally or probably legally, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me to see that creep into some paperwork.
Yeah, I could 100% see them try it.
There is also as well, and I know people have lots of different views of exhibitions, but like, I've been very privileged to be at quite a few, and what you tend to find is many, not everybody, many of the players are incredibly giving with fans in terms of, like, their time and their willingness to engage, and like, it can be for people like a very, very lovely experience to go to an exhibition. So like, certain ones, you've got to go to the right ones, and you've got to be lucky to catch the right players on the right day. But like, I've seen people, like, genuinely their best memories in darts are specific moments at exhibitions where they've met.
100%. You get to get up close to the players and so on. For a fan, they are great. But you know what the PDC are like. And look, Big Johnny, I know there are ranking tournaments all the time, but the PDC will protect their brand.
Well,
and it's down to the players and the players' management, if they try it, to stand up to it and test the PDC contract. That's what you're effectively paying your representative for, to test it. That there are a few managers that look over the contract and look over them really well. There are others that just tell their players to sign it. So it's making sure you are with the right representation, and there's only a couple that do that. Is the thing. Now I've seen some managers just tell their players to sign it. A couple of years ago, there was a big thing with the players' contract that I think it was Michael and Gary were like, no, we're not signing it, and changes were made, but other players just signed it, didn't even look at it.
That's the problem. Is you have people who are reluctant to sign it or won't want to sign it, but 40 other people have already not even read it and scribbled on it because they just want to play darts, and they're not really thinking too much about how it works.
Yeah, 100%. I'm saying it, and it was Gary and Michael that were like, not signing this, not a chance, type thing. But there were others that just squiggled on it, which was baffling. I've got to say, sign this.
I can well imagine. Doesn't surprise me. The players.
100%. It was funny. The snooker bit's a little bit different because yeah, I don't want to go into it too much because it's obviously I don't think it's hit court yet, but I'll be interested to see if that ruling goes the way of the snooker players that are challenging it. I'll be interested to see what darts does, because if it goes that way, then there is a can of worms to be opened.
100%. And people from other sports can potentially point to that case as having set some legal precedent if it goes one particular way.
Exactly. I don't want to go into it too much until we know one way or the other. But if it goes the way of the challenger,
expect other people to be pointing at it and saying this sets a legal precedent, and this has made a new piece of law that we can all now wave around at people. It's going to be interesting.
Phil, my wife says Phil Bars is the hottest man in darts. Wow, she's got good taste, obviously, she knows. So basically in snooker, the contract was probably almost the same as darts, that says basically if you're a world snooker professional, tour card holder, whatever it is, you can't play in anything else. Where that is being legally challenged as a restriction of trade, to say, no,
that's not fair.
That's not fair. That's not right. It all came. There was a massive exhibition event in, was it Macau, if you pronounce it, in China or Saudi, wherever it was, that wanted to be on TV, and they had Ronnie and everyone like that. And because it was on TV, they couldn't play in it because of the contract. And basically, the organisers of that event are legally challenging the contract. Now, it's the same in darts, that anyone with a PDC tour card holder can't play in anything else televised as per contract or streaming or anything like that. Now, if the snooker one, obviously we know it's going to court. If that goes the way of the events, then other dart players will be going, well, hang on a minute. If it's not legal for snooker, then surely it's not legal for darts.
Exactly, because the precedent wouldn't just apply to snooker; it applies to sporting contracts, doesn't it?
Correct, and then that opens up other stuff as well. So, from a sporting point of view, it's really interesting to see how that goes. Because if they side with World Snooker, then the darts players are like nothing to worry thing. But if they side with the promoter, then there'll be other ones going, well, hang on a minute.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that'll be interested to see. Will is in, my favourite man from Kansas City. Always a pleasure. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be interesting when that happens. But look, let's go back to the European tour. We've digressed a little bit, and if I go like that, look, it's already there. Look at it.
We started off. We went to Graz, didn't we? We went to Graz, and then it's just all gone off ever since then.
So look, it was weird. Look, the atmosphere on Saturday when Mensur Suljovic played was genuinely incredible. Look, you felt for Richie Edhouse a little bit because it was hostile, but it was also just spine-tingling. Mensur mania was going wild in Graz.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we don't get to see that a great deal, and neither do the people of Austria. Like they don't get a lot of opportunities. And regardless of what you think, I'm sure we'll get on to other things to do with the crowd this weekend, but it was lovely. Let's be honest, wasn't it? It was very nice, and yeah, you have to feel a little bit for Richie Edhouse, but yeah, first round loser money. If you get first round loser money, all my sympathies for all things start to dissipate. If the first round loser money is over $1,000, fine, get on with it.
Yeah, and look, we can see the results as we're screaming down. A couple of big mentions one, and I will said it in there, it's great to see Matt Campbell producing the form we've been screaming for. That we know Matt Campbell has an incredible ceiling, but he's been so hit and miss. But finally, it looks like maybe something has switched for him. The game against Stephen Bunting was incredible. He's lost to Durk in a great game as well. So all of a sudden, Matt Campbell's prospects have turned overnight, and we're seeing the Matt Campbell we've all been craving.
Yeah, and he's so... His potential, not even his potential, because he's not potential, he's got it. Like, you're right, his ceiling is so high. He's such a good player. But he finds himself, like, right on the cusp, right drawn into the tour card fight already. Like, everything he wins. In fact, he was out of the green last week, and he's inside the green now. He's pulled himself in just inside the green on that tour card race. And Matt Campbell's gonna, the next 3 to 6 months are very, very important to the future darts career of Matt Campbell. So what that is going to look like. Is it gonna be that he continues to be a tour holding professional player playing on the PDC tour, or is he not? Is he going to be playing in the CDC? Because he's right on the cusp. But if he doesn't, I think it's better once he's in that green. I think it's easier to stay there than it is to claw your way up. He's got to keep qualifying for things. He's got to keep picking money up where he can. But it was delightful to see him put a few results together and play like we know he can, because he's another very watchable player, isn't he? Like, he's a lovely player to watch throw darts.
Well, again, it would be an absolute travesty if he lost his card, because there aren't 128 players better than Matt Campbell.
No,
and chance.
No, and that's it. And like, we talk a lot about players that have that really high ceiling and don't get the consistency, and but you look around him, you look at the 10, 11, 12 players underneath him in that tour card race, and you think he shouldn't be in the mix with them. He shouldn't be, but he is. That's where he finds himself, unfortunately.
Oh, 100%. The other one, Durk, all of a sudden, he looks fit, firing, and the Ober genius, we're seeing ton plus averages galore again. The throw looks glorious. That all of a sudden, Durk is a huge threat once again.
Yeah, and it sort of happened all of a sudden. And like, I'll be honest, like, I have heard you say that Durk was back lots and lots of times. And I have resisted the urge to agree. Like, I have consistently said, no, I don't believe it. I'm not having it just yet. I think it's there maybe one day, but not yet. And by the time he got to beating Campbell, I literally thought, I know what the conversation we're having on Monday. Like, Phil's going to tell us Durk's back, and I'm going to have to think about whether or not I have it or not. And I think you might be right, finally. You weren't right before, but you might have it now. I think it's a big, and it was because I think it was what convinced me a little bit was that even when he got beat and Ross Smith put him out, he was still averaging 102. And so he hadn't fallen, he hadn't run out of steam, he hadn't fallen apart, he hadn't broken down, the action hadn't, it wasn't, he just got beat in a very close game by a very good player who played very well. Like, it was just, I think when he got beat by Smith, it's one of those, isn't it? Like, somebody nicks a break off you, and if somebody nicks a break off you, you can average 102, but these lads are that good that sometimes you just can't snatch that break back, can you? And I think that's all that happened there. So I for the first time in probably 18 months, I'm happy to go with you on this one and sort of nod and say, yeah, but I still think we need to see more. Like I need to see it. I mean, the good thing for him is he's qualified through the tour card qualifier event for the European Darts Grand Prix next week. So he is playing, and I think that's the best thing that could have happened to him. The best thing that could have happened to him after this week was to go and play in Germany again in another Euro tour. Like that's perfect.
Yeah.
If he comes and rattles off first couple of games again, 96, 97, 98 averages, then I think at that point I'll go, yeah, fine, got it. If he goes out in the first round of the next one, there's a risk that I consider this a blip. That I think that he's having you on again. But it's exciting though, and it's interesting to see. Like I said, I think it would have been a big shame if he hadn't have qualified for going to Germany next week. Because I think if you are playing like that and you've done it on a Euro Tour stage, the best thing you can do is get straight back on a European Tour stage and try and replicate it. So I think let's see what happens at the weekend.
Now, forget good darts, forget world-class darts. Saturday, we had silly crap darts.
We had Dan Simpson darts.
And the 40 dart leg from Joe Cullen is something that will be remembered. And I remember watching it. It was
beautiful.
One of the best players in the world, or best players, because Cole's in there as well, had a moment that we've all had down the pub on a Friday night where no matter what you do, you just will not go in.
No, for the statisticians, it's going to prove a complete and utter nightmare. Because what it's done is it's managed to somehow give somebody a 6-2 victory in a Euro Tour event, averaging 77, which makes no sense at all, does it? Like it shouldn't be the case. Bollocks. It's nice. It's nice to see it happen to other people sometimes. Like it happens to me regular enough. I certainly won't be having sympathy for it happening to somebody else. Absolutely, yeah, superb stuff. I think it is what it is. It happens to everyone. It doesn't happen to people on TV very much. It happens to these guys a lot less than it happens to other people. But sometimes eating doubles is tough.
Yeah, and look, it was some of them weren't even poorly thrown darts. They were all across the wire from both of them, and a couple of times Cole and Cullen were both like, "How is that not in?" and so on. It was just a great watch.
That's the other thing, is it was because of the players. Like I think there are other players, like there are players that were playing that event, and the idea of watching them throw a 40 dart leg makes me, not happy. But I thought the spirit in which that leg was played and the way that the players and the commentators and everyone got along with it.
By the way, Mason, Dan Dawson together was poetry in motion.
I think it's a proper dream team combination. That
it was incredible.
Yeah, it frustrates me that we don't see that pairing more often, and that we don't see that pairing. Well, we don't see that pairing anywhere near as much as we should, because I think there is this. You want commentators to complement each other, and I don't mean tell them that their shirts look nice. I mean like offer something different to the other one, whether it's sometimes just a change in tone or in cadence or in the insight they have on the game or their expertise, or you want them to offer something a little bit different. You don't just want two replicas of each other sat there in the box, because you're not getting a full experience. And I think that combination works so well in the way that they set it up between them, who does what and who calls what, and the way that they are able to provide the sort of depth and colour behind what's going on is very, very impressive.
Yeah. Martin Schindler wins his 3rd European Tour event. When do we start putting Martin Schindler into a category where we think he might be actually the real deal here? That we've seen so many false starts with German players over the year, but to win 3 Euro Tour titles, he's putting himself up there, and you could see what it means to him all weekend. I loved his aggression on the board. I loved the passion that he showed, and I really rate it.
And you know what? He's having a quick look as well. So I just had a look at the tour card race there, and I know it's not everything, but it's. I think it's a good indicator of form and where people are at, and it shocked me as someone who hasn't looked at it a lot in the last few weeks, who's had a little bit of a holiday and a bit of time off. It genuinely shocked me the players that he was above. Like, I couldn't quite get my head around. I couldn't believe that he was above Damon Heta and James Wade and Dave Chisnell and Danny Nopp, and players that I thought, without sitting down and properly thinking about it, but just off the top of your head, I thought, oh, well, they'll all be ranked above Schindler. I would have thought, they pick up money all the time. They're always getting through to a quarter-final here and last 32 of this and last 16. And no, he's sat there 10th in the world on the tour card race, and he's just picking money up regularly. And he's a proper threat. I think this year's a big year for him because it will establish where he ends up sitting in the world. So when you look at the ranking money that he's carrying at the minute, he's got 108 grand from 2023. He's got 208 grand from last year. If he can replicate the year he had last year, this year, then he's going to find himself probably neatly in the top 10. If he has the same year this year as he did last year, it'll be, and if he gets there, I don't know. He's a very, very good player. Very good player.
100%. And look, he's got a green jacket now. Forget Rory's green jacket. Shindy's got one of his own.
Yeah, he certainly has. And what a prize, by the way. What a prize.
And look, Warren says here as well, he's only 20k off being seeded for the match play.
No, this is it, you see. This is, and the way that he's picking up money as well, you wouldn't back against him. Wouldn't back against him do it.
No, well, and also as well, I know this year's hasn't finished yet, but a German player in the Premier League for the brand would be ridiculous. We saw the viewing numbers in Germany when Schindler got to the world. Clemens got to the world semi-final.
Yeah, we did. And what Clemens didn't have to back it up, is he didn't have that long-standing, sustained ranking. He couldn't. All we could point for that in terms of when they were talking the Premier League for Clemens was went deep in the world. He had the same claim as Scott Williams. Went deep in the world. Lots of people watched it. That wasn't enough. I think if you can point to a top 10 ranking and say, I'm in the top 10, I am the highest ranked German player. That the eyes come in. It's a different conversation, a very different conversation. If that becomes there, especially because there's so many of those Premier League picks that remain, fluid, and you could make a case for, probably 2 players for every one spot you could make a case for.
Well, yeah. Well, the other one off that as well is Josh Rock. That the performances he put in this weekend, he's provisionally 8 in the world. Another one that, with a good run on TV or in TV events, ticks all the boxes that you'd want.
Yeah, we talked about him last week, didn't we? I still think I'd like to see him get his hands on a pot. That's probably because I quite like him as well. As a fan, I'd like to see him get his hands on a pot. So that sort of make in order to just manifest it. But yeah, I think that. I think Josh Rock's probably got to do a bit more than Schindler if they're both in the top 10 and they both have a decent run at the Worlds, because Schindler will have that benefit of being German. And
German, yeah, no, I agree.
And therefore, if you are a Josh Rock or someone, and that's the spot that you're competing against somebody for, you probably got to go and do a bit more, which probably means getting your hands on a pot. But that is absolutely not out of, the realm of possibility for someone like Josh Rock. He could very comfortably pick up a pot up.
It's an interesting one. Richard says, I love Barney, but it's getting painful. There was a lot of head shaking at the weekend from Barney, and I don't get it. That I saw him at an exhibition probably 5-6 weeks ago, and he had more darts than Peter Wright. But then all of a sudden, he seemed to find one that worked. He went back to an old one with a slim flight, and he played well. And then he changes altogether again. I'm just like, what? Why? It's like you're causing yourself problems here.
I think there's so many unanswered questions with Barney at the minute. And I think it's the more that he knows, fuck it. To just be blunt, he's a shadow of the man that he once was in terms of what he can produce on a darting stage. Like, we've seen snippets of it, like slithers of it. I think the last time the world got excited about watching Raymond van Barneveld play darts, they were only excited about it because he played Luke Litter in the World Championships a couple of years ago. Like, that's what, and I think that's the last time everybody got excited about watching Barney, because he is unable to replicate the level of performance that made him one of the greats in the history of the sport. I find it a difficult watch because I feel like he's searching for something that's not there anymore. And I think he could throw all the darts in the world. And yes, he might have a good leg or so with him. And he plays well every now and again. But of course, he's going to play well every now and again. He's one of the greatest players of all time. Like, he still knows how to throw the dart at the board. But in terms of him being able to compete at the highest level, I'm afraid that those days are gone now. The question is, what does he do next? I don't imagine that he finds it difficult to get booked for anything. In terms of, we talked about exhibitions. This is becoming the exhibition show tonight. I don't imagine he finds it hard to get booked for an exhibition. I imagine he can probably command a relatively high price. He also is a fairly smart bloke who speaks quite well. And I imagine there's any number of media opportunities and various other things if that's the way that he wanted to move.
Well, he already does some Viaplay in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think there's lots of opportunities for him. I'm not a big fan of seeing it because I just think it's a tough watch. And then every now and again, I see him get his arse handed to him by a player who really isn't fit to lace his boots in the grand scheme of things. In the history of the sport. I just find it a bit sad.
Johnny, with his Target darts, I remember Target made him pretty much a replica of an old set. They were just a normal straight barrel with the blue rings. He played well with them and then just stopped using them all of a sudden. They were a replica of an old set that was that he found something with.
If we still had, and I know it's controversial, and I know it's controversial to some in the chat room because some of them feel very strongly about it. But if we still had what existed a couple of years ago in terms of the seniors tour, then I would have said that's fucking perfect for him because it will keep him active enough where he can play competitive darts regularly and be competitive and play you know, at a level where he can win and have victories regularly and lift trophies and almost have a swan song to his career. But at the same time, essentially keep his eye in, because he's unlimited to what he wants to earn in terms of exhibitions and going and playing wherever for whatever. You know, he might think he's above that. Like, fine, but you think of some of the players that we saw play on the seniors tour, and there's some fucking big names among them. Names among them, but it's not there now in terms of how it is. You know, with those number of events that he, behind closed doors. I think that would have been good for him, going, with the players that he used to play with years ago, behind closed doors and playing a lot of darts on the regular, where the eyes of the world aren't on him, and he's not getting as frustrated and not feeling, let's be honest, embarrassed a little bit by getting whooped by some very, very average players.
Yeah. Agreed that he didn't look happy. And then with the announcement made by Ultimate Paul, do you think darts may follow suit? I asked Matt Porter this question. The interview will be out tomorrow morning. I ran out of time today. It's not changing. They have no plans to change at the moment.
We'll wait for Matt's explanation on that.
Well, basically, they follow. Is it whoever? And they haven't been handed any documents to change or anything like that, so they will not be changing. Like I brought up the Ultimate Paul, and Matt was like, "No."
Fair enough.
So I read somewhere that Little MVG are playing in single thing this week. Yeah, they're all back. They will all be there. Right. I want to follow. I want to.
It's coming out tomorrow.
It'll be out tomorrow. I just ran out of time today because I was playing with this. PDC follow the IOC, don't they? Yes, I believe so. Rob, and yeah, like I say, Matt's like, we've had nothing, so no change in coming. I don't know about Littler, but I certainly know that Luke, Gary, Michael, and all that are playing. I haven't spoke to Luke, but the others are. Sorry. Michael Smith. Now there were just some signs that he was returning to some form. That at one point, I think he was about 10 grand behind in that race for the match play. He got himself back to within striking distance. Skipping this weekend seemed a bit of a mistake, and the gap's back. I think it's 6.5 grand. Was it a mistake?
I mean, for me, at the minute, ranked 20th in the world, I think missing any ranked darts at all is a mistake for Michael Smith. Like, ranked 20th in the world, not at the match play, like not going to the match play this year, and fucking running out of time. It's May this week, like properly running out of time to qualify for the match player as well. I think it's a proper error to not playing anything that's ranked at the minute. I think if it's ranked, he needs to be there.
Yeah, I say he done so well to cut the gap to what it was, and he got himself back. I think on the last Euro Tour event, he was a win away. I think if he'd have won one more game, he went into the green.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. But like I say, I just think missing anything that's ranked at the minute is a mistake for him. I think he needs ranking money. He needs it quick. I assume he's playing next week.
I presume so. Yeah.
He's on the list at the minute, as the Order of Merit qualifiers. But yeah, he needs to be there. He needs to be at all these events. He needs to be winning money and get himself back up those rankings.
So looking at as it stands there, we have the race for the Betfred World Match Play on stage. In terms of the seeds, first of all, do you see Schindler, Smith, maybe Ryan Searle forcing their way in?
I mean, yeah, potentially, yeah, because we've seen, we've seen how well they can all play at the moment, haven't we? So I think, yeah, certainly at that end, further down that Pro Tour order of merit, probably not. Certainly those two. I think Schindler and Smith, definitely, because we've seen great darts from them lately, and why wouldn't we see any more? And again, at the bottom, the players that they're going to have to dispatch. Josh Rock's a bit different because he's also on his way up. But Gary, we see a mixed bag from Gary. Sometimes he looks like the greatest player of all time. Sometimes he looks like me. Like it's a bit of all sorts. Peter Wright again, unpredictable, same as Danny Noppert, and a number of players. It's a funny one, isn't it? But I definitely think we can see some movement in there.
In terms of the Pro Tour order of merit, how far up are you going? Who's safe? Where's your line at the moment?
At the moment, who's safe? Probably. Where are we? Definitely Ryan Joyce. And probably Andrew Gilding as well, I think. Because I just don't think there are enough opportunities for three players. Because to dispatch Andrew Gilding, you need four players from Richie Edhouse down over to play better than everyone Richie Edhouse up over to Andrew Gilding. And I just don't think that happens. The Ryan Joyce is the 100% line for me at the minute. He's guaranteed. And I think Andrew Gilding is probably 90%.
Yeah, that's the thing that I look at it and think they might not be playing the best, but it's catching them. So, Rob, the cutoff is the 13th of July. So let me get the PDC calendar up.
It's not a lot, is it, between now and then? Not a lot.
So we've got the Euro Tour this weekend. So we've got Euro Tour, Players Championships 15-16, Euro Tour, so that's 2 Euro Tours, 2 Players Championships, 3 Euro Tours, 3 Euro Tours, 5 Players Championships, 7 Players Championships, and 6 Euro Tours. Is that 4? No, 4 Euro Tours.
Yeah, but you've got to be in them.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's the money that's the money that's on the line.
Yeah, Smith's not in 7 and 8. I think
when he got himself a grand away, I thought he was going to kick on, but this week has hurt him.
Really has. Yeah, I think it's. I don't think it's a million miles away from being settled. That there'll be a little bit of change, but not a lot at all. Not a lot.
7 Pro Tours, 4 Euro Tours, and I look at it and I think that Martin Lukeman, again, he's been up and down. We've seen him changing darts this year. He's not in the same form that he was.
He's got
Richie
£8 grand
Edhouse.
signed as well, isn't it? But it's also £8 grand that 5 players above him don't pick up. Do you know what I mean? Like I just think it's highly unlikely that we have that many players switch out and win something big. You know, don't get me wrong. If a Lukeman or a Dukes goes and wins a Pro Tour, then that'll probably get them in. But how many of them are going to do that? Maybe one, if that.
Yeah, they're not all going to do it, is the thing.
That's what I mean. Therefore, I think like Joyce and Gilding, I think are pretty solid. I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to take something special that maybe Pietrezco, Barney, and Woodhouse.
A little bit of it as well.
Are the ones you've got to try and target.
It's the players in there. It's the players in that chasing pack as well that I don't have a huge amount of confidence in some of them, and that's a problem because if some of those, you know, if Matters, Rasmer, Connor, Scott Williams. The sort of, in fact, that 26, 27, 28, 29, Rasmer, White, Scott and Williams, if they were the 4 in the chasing pack, if they were sort of 17, 18, 19, I'd look at it and think, oh yeah, because I think those players they've got a win in, you know, they've got a Pro Tour win in them, or they've got, whereas I don't see it from those players that realistically can get there. I think it's you would have been called a madman a couple of years ago if you would have said that we are going to have a match play and it won't feature Michael Smith and Dimitri van den Berg.
Well, what are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "12 weeks away from the match play." And I look at, just in general, at the moment, the players that are in green on both sides, I appreciate in that period a lot can change, but there are also a lot of players not really in form at the moment as well.
100%, yeah.
There are question marks all around where I look at them and I go, he can be got at, he's playing okay, inconsistent.
So you've got a situation where the seeds number 2 and 6 from last year aren't going to qualify, and if the Lukes are out early, this could be wild. It could be wild. There's so much potential for chaos here, you know, because
you look at it as it stands at the moment. Littler and Anderson are on course for a round 2 meet.
Yeah.
At the Winter Gardens, it's just
there is such opportunity for absolute carnage. I'm all for it though. Like, bring it on.
Bob asked,
look at it.
How far down the rankings on the Pro Tour Order of Merit do you still think has a chance of qualifying? I'm cutting it off at Callan. Look, I think Callan, William O'Connor, Doots and Ratajski all have it in them to win a Pro Tour. We've seen them do it before.
Yeah, they've got it. If you had to pick one, Phil, if you had to pick someone from like 17 to 26, like that, you know, those next few, who would you pick? If someone said, right, where's your 50 pence going for someone to go rogue and make it?
Either William O'Connor or Ratajski.
See, I wouldn't. If I had 50 pence to back there, I think I'd probably back Dukes, I think.
I think
he's got big wins in him. think he's got big wins in him. I think he can win big games at darts.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd say either one of them. And look, I know there's a little bit further on this one, but look, the World Grand Prix as well follows hot off the back of this as well. At the moment, Michael Smith currently holds the last spot for that, but at the moment, Daryl Gurney not at the World Grand Prix. Someone that's won it before. It's interesting. Again, Schindler, in terms of, again, that's mental, right? So look at the main order of merit now for the World Grand Prix. Bearing in mind, there's only the World Match Play in terms of TV ranking events between them. Gary Anderson is 15th on one. He jumps up to 10 in terms of a seed, potentially, for the World Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Completely bananas.
And there, if you look at that, Martin Schindler definitely has Danny Noppert in his sights to be seeded for the World Grand Prix.
Oh,
just look at it. Danny Noppert is there to be got at.
it certainly is. If you look at the form of them both at the moment, like you'd probably expect Schindler to pip him. I would have thought, the amount of time that's left.
Yeah. And look, Nathan Aspinall wouldn't be seeded for the World Grand Prix either. He'd be coming off the Pro Tour side of it.
Again, like it's a brutal first round for somebody, that, isn't it? Like clawing your way through the season to get yourself seeded, only to find that you have to play Nathan Aspinall in the first round. A fucking disaster.
Interesting. Chris says, is this where the whole Euro Tour changes has affected it even more? Who can qualify for the match play or other TV events? I don't think this is, me personally, the changes to the Euro Tour yet. I don't think
I don't think so.
I don't think we'll see these changes for another 2 to 3 years.
Especially when, like, you know, Luke Woodhouse and Richie Edhouse there, the difference between them two, the difference between going to the match play or not is $2,000. Like, so you could argue and say, well, if you've made a Euro Tour and you haven't made a Euro Tour, then that's the difference. But if they've both got the same chances to qualify, haven't they? And they're both entering in all the same Pro Tour events. So I think, you know, $2,000 is the difference. You know, it might have a bearing as to whether or not you end up a seed or not. But I don't think whether or not you get there or not is too governed by.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, it's these two races are very, very interesting. To say the least. Also, kind of coming off the back of this is a general question, because there's been a lot of sport on recently, and I'm talking how things look here and so on, that we've seen a lot of, excuse me, we've seen a lot of sport over the last couple of weeks. What can darts do better to improve? And I'm not talking about as in get better, that darts production and so on hasn't really changed much over the years. Yes, we've got some new camera angles, and we've got a guy with a roaming camera now potentially, but we see other sports and have really changed it up and so on. What can darts do better, and how can darts improve that side of the sport?
Right, first rant in early, which is going to come slightly off topic, only very slightly, because it's still about how fans engage with it and watch it and enjoy it. Is I still maintain that the provision for family and or junior tickets, etc., is fucking shite. Like, it's always been crap. It's still crap. The way that they do, I understand you have to make as much money as possible. Like, I understand that, but you want to grow the future of the game. You want to get young players coming through. You want to change the image a little bit of your sport and continue to change the image of your sport. Then make it more accessible for families and for kids. And like at your world championships, the family area is very, very small. there are very few families in it. Like, very, very small area, very, very few families in it. Like, I don't think it would be unreasonable. It would certainly sell out to pick afternoon sessions or particular events and almost badge them up as being a family-friendly session. You can still sell ale and do everything like that, but badge them up as that. Don't have as many people like bumping keys in the toilets, and try and focus on an environment that encourages people to bring families in, because every other sport does that. I don't know a sport that doesn't. Like, I take my kids to lots of sport. Like, we've got season tickets for cricket. We watch a lot of football. When I engage with these sports with my kids, there is virtually always provision in some ways for junior fans. That is essentially non-existent in darts. If I take them to an event, and I do, as you know, like, I take my kids to darts like a lot, and they've been very lucky. They've been to all sorts of different darts events. But when I do, I find that anything that is there, like fan zone wise, is either alcohol or gambling. Like, I have no problem with either. In fact, I'm a big fan of both. But it means my kids can't interact with it. That's the problem I have. Like, I can't. So, like, if I bring my kids, and I love it if I bring them to an afternoon session at the match play. If I bring them to the women's match play session on the afternoon, like, there is nothing there that they can like engage. You know, it's either booze or it's gambling. And I understand it. You need to make loads of money, and they're your sponsors and everything else. But like, one session per tournament on tournaments where you've got afternoon things, just anything we can do to get more provision for families, people taking kids to events. Personally, speaking selfishly, I would be a huge fan of. Second thing on my list, and this I experienced at the World Seniors. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So did Billy, because I had Billy with me at the time when we went to Viva in Blackpool to watch the Champion of Champions. And we picked up, and anyone that's watched Snooker will have seen it before, but a commentary earpiece, which meant that me and Billy could sit in Viva with our earpiece on, listening to, I think it was Duzza that day at the time that was on comms. That was really, really good. I appreciate. Probably won't work at all events. Not amazing if you're in the Premier League and there's 20,000 people going wild. But there are certain events, and when I say certain events, I'm thinking events at Minehead. You know, like if you're in that multi-room board and you're moving around, you know, and or you're in Reds and places like that, that could be absolutely brilliant, because you'd be getting score updates from, you know, the other boards that are going on, things like that. I thought I love that. The more of that, the better. What else can we do better? We need to make more of an effort. We need to make more of an effort for special, and like, ridicule me for being a wrestling fan, all people want. But if I've watched Luke Littler do his walk on to Pitbull, to the same song, to the same lighting program on the DMX automatic lighting system, and I've watched it happen 7 times already, but now it's the World Championship final. Give me more. Give me something. I don't care. Give me fireworks. I'm not saying he has to come in on the roof like on a zip line like Shawn Michaels or something like that. Like, but give me something. Let's have some. I want to be entertained. Like, why do we never see live music at that? I don't know why. Like, we've got a big fucking massive stage and an arena sometimes, and often 25 minutes to kill. How often does that happen? You know, we've had the semi-finals, we need to do the final. Fucking, let's do something. Let's have a bit more fun. Like, a bit more creativity with that. Love. I'm bouncing around ideas all over the place here as well. Absolutely love what we saw with the CDC recently on their playback feature after the cross-border challenge, where if you were watching through their streaming service, you could select your own camera, essentially be the director. You could look around and take different camera views. You could get close on different parts of the board, or you could come off the board, focus on the player and watch the throw if that's what you're into. Like, that's cool. Is it a bit of a fad? Maybe. Doing what we do, I find it quite interesting. Like, there's lots of analysis to be done there, and people doing a bit of that. I think we can get a bit more cameras if people start using drones a bit better. We've seen in lots of sports that, like, drone footage and using drones to gather some footage is very, very cool. Some of the things that can be created with that. There's a short list anyway.
Right. I agree with some of those. I want to see better angles for left-handers as well. Now, over the years, we get a perfect shot of the grips for right-handed players, but left hand, that's all.
Yeah, we get that, don't
we? And we don't get to pick and analyze things like that, which irritates me. I'd like to see more innovation in terms of that, and
yeah, I like that,
and making that the walk-ons. I am 100% with you now. Not just wrestling. The boxing walk-ons.
Right, I mean, like, there's a lot you can do.
Are so much better than the darts walk-ons. That just literally, we see them at the top of the walk-on with a security guard either side, and they just walk down. Now, we even see it at cricket and snooker to a point where the walk-ons, we see them literally coming down the stairs and
coming out of the dressing room,
and coming out of the dressing rooms as well. And I go back to, I know I've said this before, the all-female card at the Royal Albert Hall, the boxing, the walk-ons they had were incredible. The big video walls, and the player walks out from behind them. In terms of production, that takes it to another level. And those clips on social media do huge things. If there's a massive walk-on, they get shared more, and so on.
The problem with darts as well is, and it differs to boxing a little bit, is that, like, when somebody sees a boxing walk-on, they see one every now and again. Like, we watch Luke Littler walk out every week. Every week. Now, and what I'm saying is, it can be perfect. It can be like that all the time. But then, like, if he's going to play the match play final, or if he's going to play the World Championship final,
like I say, I'm not saying every event. Change it up for different events, like prioritize. Right, what this is a huge event for me. The match play is bigger than the World Grand Prix. So make the match play different, make it special. Is the thing. So I look at that from that point of view, and production and so on. I think, where was it? There was a comment up here.
Here's my next idea. I want to wear this for watching darts. I want to be able to be like, surely this is the future. I want to be able to stand on the stage pretty much. But I could stand on the stage with that on, couldn't I? Like, I could be right there, and I could look left and right, and I could see the referee, and I could see the board, and that's got to be the future, surely.
I tell you, one thing I really don't like, and Sky do a lot good, but they only really do it for the match play, where they've got, or the Worlds as well, a proper studio. I don't like these chats on the stage. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. Yes, I want to see a proper studio.
I'd rather have them in a studio where Wayne can talk freely about it. And they did it a couple of years ago at the Worlds, where we had the Sky Pad, and Dan was running through a couple of bits on there. And I'd like to see technical bits and technical info like that as well.
Like we see on Monday Night Football, and we see people
Correct.
drawing lines. You know, they've got the big screen and they're drawing lines and arrows.
And people say it's darts, but right, you look over the line. We question people's techniques all the time.
We spend 20 minutes talking about that or that.
Exactly, and Rob Cross over the years, we've talked about his late release and so on. And I'd like to see pieces on this and so on. And we see it in cricket when they're analysing people's back positions from this series to next series and so on. I don't think the shows don't go in deep enough analytically to what we can see and so on.
And again, all of that, you'd think they'd be desperate to, because it just creates more content, doesn't it? It creates more content that can be pushed out. And, you know, because there are some people that will not engage with that in the slightest. Like, I'm a massive football fan. Like, if you want to turn me off immediately and make me not engage in your program about football, mention XG. Like, and I immediately don't give a shit. Like, I don't care about what you've got to say. But there are other people that will lap that up, and they want to get really technical and look at that. And every sport's the same. Like, every sport is the same. There are people that watch it for the sports entertainment value of it, and they enjoy watching it. There are other people that want to go like full nerd. They want to understand absolutely every detail of it. Good luck to them. They're normally cleverer than me.
Yeah, and I get this, Rob, but then do better. Like take the World Grand Prix, for instance. Don't try and cram 8 games into a session.
But how many channels are there on whatever, you know, the format now, this Sky Sports Plus? If we can show like every single championship game on a weekend, like there is enough bandwidth on the channel list to have another half an hour in the broadcast. There's enough channels in there.
Oh, 100%. And
it doesn't have to be on main event, does it? Like, you can have half an hour elsewhere and half an hour afterwards elsewhere. And you can just have, you know, your core in the middle on Sky Sports main event, like they do often with football. Is there'll be an hour's build up on another channel, and then main event comes in 20 minutes after, you know, before the match kicks off, and then again further fallout elsewhere on other channels.
Yeah, and I look at cricket. I think cricket do it really well. The way they analyse stuff as well, and I want to hear more than that. And my biggest bugbear, this is from a media point of view here as well, which, look, we try and tell the stories and so on, is I understand to a point why, but players are protected too much. As in, I want to hear from the loser, right? I don't want to just hear from the winner of why it went well and so on. Yeah. I want to hear from the loser. There is a story there, and the players are. I get why. But but every other sport, player the losing team have to send someone out to face the music, or an individual sport, they have to face the music, and it should be the same in darts, because the fan wants to hear both sides of the story. They don't just want to see Luke Littler. Yeah, I played well. I'm happy with that. You want to hear from the other side of it.
I'm trying to think of other individual sports, and I think, you know, do we get to the? I mean, the folks in the chat room. I'm not big into tennis. I watch
tennis. The losers have to do media.
I was going to say, the losers do the press conference in tennis. Is that standard? I know we'd see a lot of interviews in golf, a lot of time to kill in there while people are wandering around. You got to interview everybody. Yeah, I think, you know, obviously football is easy because you send the manager out or you send your captain out and it's part of his job, isn't it? Like, but it could be the problem is, you know, some of these, like, it could be a fucking car crash, couldn't it? I know that's what was like, you know.
But again, this is in terms of cleaning the sport up as well. If players understand they have to do media regardless of whether you win or lose. And I'm not talking about just with us, by the way. I'm on about on the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Obviously, look, I'd love it, but I'm talking about on the broadcast as well, that if the players understand that they have this obligation to do, maybe they won't over practice.
The problem is, though, they'll just find another reason to not, won't they? Like, we've seen it with people all the time. Some of them would rather pay the fucking fine. Like, they'll just come off, won't they? Like, and it's... But then...
But this is where, as an organisation and a governing body, you have to be strong and go, no, you have to go and do this.
You also create a culture as well, is because what happens, and it's like everything, is it's only a shock to those that have been around for ages. The younger players, they just get on with it. And then everyone that comes through on the tour, it becomes that's how it's always been. And within 4 or 5 years' time, it's completely normal.
Correct. And this is one of my bugbears, and I was annoyed about this, that at the World Championships, the Dutch and German losing players came through to do media with the German and Dutch press that had travelled. Now, the only two that didn't out of the whole tournament was Gabriel Clements and Barney. They were the only two losers that didn't come through and do any media. The rest came through and spoke to the relevant German and Dutch media.
Country media.
Because, again, I think they kind of understand it. When Michael loses, he'll go in and do Viaplay and so on. So it's not that. It's this thing of that players have become accustomed to it, and we're not getting the whole story. We're not telling the story of the night, and fans want to hear both sides of it.
That's something. I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but it's something that's always bugged me as a genuine question. And someone's mentioned it in the chat room there, and is that why we don't see highlights. I know the Pro Tours are played behind closed doors, but a lot of those games, certainly the finals and stuff, back ends of them, are all filmed, streamed, available to watch if you have a PDC subscription. Now, after the fact, once it's happened, it does stagger me that isn't almost part of, like, if I was presenting my product as the PDC, like on the Premier League nights, I'd want to be giving updates of what happened in the latest Pro Tours and what happened at the latest Euro Tours, and using the footage that's mine, that belongs to me because it was on my streaming platform, to show, he won and he beat him and he did this and he beat this 9 darter and he got fined for this. And I think it's a great opportunity, and we don't see that a lot, do we?
No, the highlights are available on the PDC YouTube channel, to be fair. So the PDC do make highlight packages.
Oh yeah, I'd just be ramming down people's throats on the telly.
Yeah.
I'd be shoving down people's throats on the telly, saying, if you like that, you can come and watch it on our streaming platform.
Yeah,
that's right. I'd be sticking it all over the place.
But yeah, Rob says no. There's no separate agreement or anything like that. They just PDC bring them through. So I'd like to see that, and in terms of like build up for the big events, I'm not talking the air event, but the big events, I think the press tours could be better and the build up media could be better for these big tournaments. That we always have a good build up for the World Championships and so on, which is great. But I want that for the match play and so on and that as well. Do you know what I mean? Not just the World Championships. Yes, we do everything good for the World Championships, but I want to branch this out and make the match play special and so on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And you look at
that radio, Bob, as well.
In the build up to WrestleMania, that there's a media tour, and you have. I'm not even talking about interviews here. I'm talking about players going to toy shops, to bookstores, and they're there for 2 hours doing signings and for kids to build the event and so on. I want to see things like that come into darts as well.
But, and this is why we won't see these things. This is why I don't get opportunities to take the kids. And it's because of all of the problems that face the PDC, of which there are, fair amount of challenges that they will encounter. Selling tickets ain't one of them. Like, the problem they've got is they can't find enough chairs to sell more tickets to their events, because they have not got a problem selling tickets at all. You can't get a ticket for a PDC event. So, and I appreciate, it almost makes my rant about, not enough concessions and family areas and opportunities for the kids to engage with the sport, it almost makes it null and void because you can't get a fucking ticket anyway. And that's the problem, is if you had a venue, I'm just throwing it in, it's a silly one, you get rid of Ali Pally and you say you're going to do it at the Royal Albert Hall, something like that. You need to sell 10,000 tickets for the back end of your tournament. All of a sudden, those things all become necessary. Like, you need to start going out into the community, into the world with your top players and engaging with people, enthusing them. And you need to start getting your players to be interviewed on the TV and going on chat shows. And you need them to go and sell your product. You need them interviewed and you need them talking. You need to build rivalries. You need to do all the things that boxing promoters do and all other people that need to sell tickets do. Like, boxing promoters do all of that because they need people to buy tickets to sit in the stadium, and they need people to buy the pay-per-view. Darts doesn't have to do that. They've already sold next year's tickets a year in advance, so they have absolutely no pressure on them whatsoever to build, to create that content. And because let's be honest, everyone else is doing it because they need to sell tickets.
100%. And I look at some of the thing, and Rob mentions it here. Players at the pleasure beach, like, we don't get those build-ups, those promos like we used to, and so on. And
so Credit Showman said it there. Like, honestly, I would have, where they say like an end of year awards. For me, that should be like. You'd have to stream it. You probably couldn't get someone to stick it on the telly.
There used to be. It used to be at the Dorchester. I was lucky enough. I went to the last one before COVID. I was in a tuxedo. Don't laugh.
Christ.
Yeah.
Will you get your flip flops tailored? But that's what it should be. It should be people in tuxedos in a room, like, with a fucking level of civility and. Like, because it's a different type of content. Again, some people will engage with it. Some people won't. Some people want to watch forfeit darts on YouTube. Some people want to see award shows where people wear tuxedos. Like, you have to try and span this whole, I suppose, the interests of everyone that will come and engage with your sport. But I would definitely like to see an award ceremony. I want to see, because most sports do it, more like properly done, formally, Hall of Fame type.
Yeah.
Because there's virtually all sports have that now. They all talk about it. They all, again, use it as an opportunity to both have events where people can come, either buy tickets or be invited, etc., make a bit of a fuss of players that are, aging and might not get many opportunities to be out and about in front of the cameras and stuff anymore. That sort of thing as well, I think there's definitely space for it.
No, and I think it was Lendl that said, like, going back to the media thing, it's a British thing. I agree. I think it is. And I think it was Rob said as well that people they'll hark back to but we've never done this in the good old days and whatever. And it's like, it doesn't make it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's there's so much that can be done. So much that can be done. And I think a little bit of it is it's like we're a bit spoiled, aren't we? And we also get to watch, like, we get, especially, and some folks in the chat room who watch even more than I do, watch lots and lots.
I sent you a picture, Dan.
What's that?
I sent you a picture.
Is it inappropriate? Jesus Christ, it's you in a tuxedo. I wouldn't have thought such a thing.
Yeah, pleasure. I tell you what, Murph is in the chat room. Good to have you in. Yeah, and look, 100%. More promotion, more viewers. 100% with you, Murph. 100% with you, and that's what we're talking about. And the PDC do a lot of good things, but
And it is, we're talking as spoilt darts fans here, like who get to watch loads and loads and loads of darts, and therefore, and also, so we want more, and we want it in loads of different ways. And also, you sort of think, well, we want the sport to keep growing and get better. So you see things happening in other sports, you see different things going on. I think the influencer events are they're a really, really good idea. I think it's a great opportunity to bring more eyes and a different sort of eye, like the people that follow different influencers and different channels, the people that follow channels like this, they all might be a slightly, well, we know that our followers, the people that engage with this channel, aren't your strict like PDC darts fans. There's a bit of all sorts in amongst those that follow these type of channels. So I think the more that you can reach out and bring more of them into it, that can only be a good thing as well. You create a different type of content. People underestimate how amusing it can be to watch non-professionals play darts. Like it can be.
But I say, but just going back to like things that the Skype had, we saw it once. We've not seen it again since, and so on. It was like it worked. Is the thing, and I want to see more of that. And like I say, I want to see media tours building up and building excitement around it to the casual and so on. And like I say, Chris has said there that the event sold out. Great. However, everything is going to be across these platforms. You can still see what's going on this platform, and so on.
Yeah, I see again, and I know that it clearly, like I like the idea of the influencer event. I think it's really cool. It's obviously, people go one way or the other on it, but I think fine. Well, that's great, isn't it? Like, because if someone doesn't like it, but other people do, then the people that do will watch it, and the people that don't will watch something else. There'll be something that they enjoy, whatever that is. Having a bath with his granny, I think. But it's and that's what, when it's done well, like when it's done really well, there is something for everybody. Like there is something that everybody can engage with outside of just watching the sport, and that's when it's done really, really well. And we see it a lot.
Look, I don't want to sound like a party pooper, because I'm not, but I want the sport to grow and flourish, and not just be this great big piss up that everyone goes on. I want it to be a sporting event, a sporting highlight that you don't have to go and get absolutely wankered to go and enjoy it. Like you touched there, you can take the kids.
And there's quite a lot of people in the chat room who I've met in real life, and often at a darts event, right? I like an ale, although like it's cups of tea and liquid death again tonight. This is like three live lounges on the spin that I've done dry, which is very strange. Like I'm not pregnant or anything. It's very odd for me. But I love a piss up, and I'm the first to the bar at any opportunity, first to get the round in. But I don't do a great deal of drinking at darts, even when like I'm there drinking. I'm not there doing media or something. Like I don't do a lot of drinking at darts because I'm generally there to watch the darts. I'm like, there's a time and a place for a piss up, and I find a lot of those times and a lot of those places. But I generally don't think it is that, because I'm there to enjoy the same as I have a pint when I go and watch the football, but I don't have 16. Some of it is because I've got the kids with me, and you can only have 14 or 15 when you've got the kids. But no, it's I agree. Like the more that we can focus on it being like a sport that you go and watch, where there is also a bar, like it will be a better experience for everybody to engage with, including the players.
Yeah, and look, we've seen this as well, that the demographic, and it is because of Luke, the demographic is dropping. Like, I've never seen so many kids at darts events, which is a great thing. It really is. And then we can then build this platform, this sport that is on a crest at the moment. It's getting bigger and bigger. It could genuinely be a global sport if just little bits are changed. Like there's a reason that darts didn't really take off in Japan and Asia because of that drinking culture that we've spoken about. That Gary Anderson's spoken about it. That the World Series in Tokyo, they literally cleared their tables up and things like that, and they were applauding good darts. Now look, and I appreciate we're used to this banging atmosphere coming through on TV. I get that, but it's just trying to mold it into a complete sport. Do you know what I mean?
It is, and I think about the opportunities for how do you make it that? Well, what you want is kids like Billy, who you've met a bunch of times, right? Billy's like your perfect future darts fan, right? Perfect future member of the online darts team, right? But I can't take him to the World Championships. I can't get a ticket for him. Like, I can't get a ticket for him. If I can get a ticket for him, then I don't know if I want him in that environment. I take him to a lot of darts, but I'm dead picky. Like, as you know, I'm picky about where I take him, where we sit when I take him, because sometimes it's fucking mental, isn't it? And this is so, like Dan mentioned that you have a family section segregated from, like, there is, right? So at Ali Pali, it is a very small family section. But again, that isn't really policed. It's as policed as well as the Whistling's policed as to like who is and who isn't in that section. So it's not really a family section. Don't feel like a family section very much. No. And also, what I have found isn't the way around it as well with kids, because I've tried it, is you go hospitality, right? So, like, I've tried it. So you pay a couple £100 for your tickets instead, and you think, right, actually, I won't be around all these pissed lunatics, and it'll be a bit easier to go with the kids. Absolutely wrong. You're just with pissed lunatics who've got a few more quid. It's just slightly richer pissed lunatics. Like, hospitality isn't the answer.
Yeah, and it's just interesting, and I don't want to sound this like we're this is a negative, but we're just trying to things I'd like to see improved in the sport. And look, this isn't all going to happen overnight, but we can make little steps. Is the thing in terms of production and media and so on. These bits can be done. Is the thing. I don't want to make it sound like we've just been bashing it, because we haven't. Because there is a lot.
We've come from a position of like darts is mint, but if you give me like half an hour to like, what more do I want? I'll give you a big fucking list.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, I think the Newcastle team is fucking brilliant. Give me half an hour and see who do I think we should sign. I'll give you a massive list. Like, it's just like everybody, you always want more, don't you? That's just the human nature to want more.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we've got to do some predictions here as well. Night 13 of the roadshow rolls on. We are going to the Utilita in Birmingham. I'm not going to lie, it's one of my least favourite venues. But we go on nonetheless. Quarter-final lineups are as follows. Luke Littler takes on Stephen Bunting. Nathan Aspinall takes on Chris Dobie. Luke Humphreys, Gerwin Price. Did we see that game last week? Oh, sorry. And Rob Cross takes on Michael Van Gerwen in the final one. Again, some big ties, some big games for players. First up, Littler against Bunting. Are we going to get a response from the Nuke?
Yep, 6-2. Slaps him about, I think, next week.
6-3. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that, but ultimately, I agree. I think Littler wins. This is a huge game. Aspinall against Dobie. Now, Aspinall's record against Dobie is incredible, and both players know it.
Yeah, but I can't do it. 6. I can't go all the way. 6-4 tense. Oh no, hang on. Right, Derby doesn't win 6-4. If it gets to 4, then Aspinall wins it. It's 6-3. Have to be.
I can't ignore Aspinall's record against Derby. I'm going 6-4 Aspinall. Luke Humphreys against Godwin Price, a repeat of the final last week. I say Gezi very publicly in Gran Canaria at the moment. Luke's been on the board this weekend. So, what are we thinking?
6-5 Gezi Price. I think it's a class match. This. I think it'll be mint.
I agree. I think it'll be mint as well.
Match of the night. This.
I'm going 6-4 Humphreys. I'm going cool hand. Gets the job done. Rob Cross against MVG. Again, MVG away on holiday. Rob Cross been disappointing of late. Again, consistency the issue for Voltage. How do we see this one going?
I'm finding it really hard to pick both of these players lately. And I didn't think a few weeks ago that I would say that I'm more comfortable picking Michael Van Gerwen because I think he's arguably slightly more reliable at the minute than Rob Cross. And I didn't think I'd be saying that 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I'm going to say exactly that. Michael Van Gerwen, because I think he's slightly more reliable at the minute than Rob Cross. 6-4.
I'm going to go 6-5 MVG. Who have you got winning the night? And after this, are we going to have a clearer picture of who's heading to the O2, or is it still going to be that back-to-back night 15 and 16 shootout between MVG and Aspinall?
The night will be won again by Gezi Price. He wins 2 in a row.
Ooh, interesting.
And it will create more of a battle for 4th spot because his place will be all but secured.
I am going. Can I bring myself to do it? The final will be Luke Littler against Michael Van Gerwen. Can I bring myself to say the words? MVG wins a night.
Oh, bold.
I've gone rogue. I've gone rogue.
Come from behind at some point as well, because that's definitely his little. That's his habit at the minute, isn't it? He's coming from behind.
Yeah, I've gone.
Come back from a 5-2 or something like that.
Yeah, I've gone rogue. I've gone MVG wins the night.
It's a bold.
I know it's bold.
It's a bold call.
Yeah. Right, we've got time for a couple of questions. I tell you what, tonight has flown by. Absolutely flown by. You guys have been.
Considering we had one less voice.
Yeah, you guys have been incredible tonight.
I'm still recovering.
Absolutely sensational.
It's been a busy house show, isn't it?
Yeah, interesting. This week as well. Now Dan is back home. Details will become probably Wednesday for the Live Lounge live in August. Now Dan is home. We can just firm everything up.
Yeah, in fact there's some building work going on at the minute to about quadruple the size of the area. But yeah, that'll be very exciting once we get that organised.
One guest I have confirmed as well. Someone from the northeast is confirmed.
Goodness me. This is exciting, isn't it?
Will Dimmy play in the World Cup? Ooh, I think so. I think he'll be back by then. Is Littler playing in the World Cup? Littler will be there.
Of course he will be.
I started this earlier and kind of forgot about it. Argentina in the World Cup, Dan.
Not a fan.
Are you not?
Well, the old enemy, aren't they? Ever since that, ever since that sending off, David Beckham, I've never forgiven them. The hand of God, the Falklands War. I can't be happy about having Argentina anyway. Can I? Yeah.
I starred this one as well. I forgot about it. Tickets, obviously, World Grand Prix. I'm not a fan of it in Leicester, are you?
For me, many people think of Leicester as the Midlands. Like, try driving there from where I live. Doesn't sound very fucking middle. Doesn't feel it. Yeah, it's just too far away for me. There isn't anything in terms of outside of a Premier League night. There's nothing in the northeast of the country, and there's loads of venues up here, but there's nothing. If you have one, you think, London, Milton Keynes, Leicester, Wolverhampton, it all just feels a bit not in the northeast to me. Blackpool, etc., etc. Minehead twice. I
tell you where I think would work, having been there for the seniors and an exhibition, I think the York Barbican would be mint.
Oh, perfect. The York Barbican is a gorgeous venue in a city with a very, very good train system in terms of the train getting in and out and around and things like that. That would work very, very nicely. And if you are in the northeast, if you're in Leeds, if you're in Newcastle, if you're anywhere else up here, you can get into York very easily. You can get a train, you can travel, you can park. York's got big park and rides where you can park outside the city and get in and out. But yeah, selfishly, again, I feel like it's been a very selfish show tonight of me just stamping my feet and saying what I want from the world. But yeah, give me a choice of Leicester or somewhere up in the right end of the country, then yeah, just give me it up here.
We are going. It is Billingham, isn't it?
Billingham.
Yeah, Chile. The Live Lounge Live will be from Billingham. Yeah, Brad, I did laugh at again a very poor article from TalkSport. The idea of having the darts final at Wembley Stadium in January was just.
Did you see that we're having darts in Hyde Park?
Yes, I'm going to try and find out some more information because that looks good.
Well, I'm actually going to. I'm going to British Summertime because I've got tickets. I've got rather posh tickets as well to see Stevie Wonder. For those that don't know, I'm a bit of a Stevie Wonder geek. You can't see all the records up on the wall, but I'm seeing him twice in a week. And one of them is at British Summertime. I've been a few times to British Summertime, and it's class. The idea of having darts there is very, very exciting. Very exciting. Although I don't know, it's going to be outdoors. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody moans about a fucking breeze on stage.
Yeah, that will be interesting. It will. Yes, we will be streaming it. Don't you worry about that. I'll tell you what. Tonight has been absolutely class, everyone. Thank you very, very much. As we go into Fergie time. Remember, this will be available as a audio download in the morning. So make sure you turn notifications on for all good podcast providers. Plenty of interviews coming your way this week. I promise Matt Porter will be out at lunchtime tomorrow to keep you all entertained, and he has plenty to say. If you haven't yet, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe because we truly do appreciate it. Live Lounge Euro Tour streams Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as always. So we have plenty going on at your ultimate darts destination here at Online Darts. But I have been Phil Bars, Dan Simpson. This has been the Live Lounge, episode 201. Enjoy the rest of your evening.